Hello everyone, this will be chapter 2 of When Powers Collide, a Miraculous Ladybug, My Hero Academia, crossover fanfiction, written and read by Miraculously Bridgy. There will be a mild volume warning in this chapter, but when I say mild, I mean very, very mild. Summary. Aizawa knows that today is going to be a long day teaching all 20 of his students. When the roof caves in and the number goes up to 22, he knows he's right. Shota bites back a sigh as he opens the door to Class 1A and walks up to the podium at the front. He has a feeling that today is going to be a very long day. He doesn't know how he knows this or why today is going to be a long day. He just knows it will be long, because his instincts are never wrong. Today is going to be long and painful, and it is going to test him more than he has ever been tested before. So, Shota savors the last moments of peace he would most likely get for a while, and prayed that there was extra coffee in the teacher's lounge. Okay, Shota starts. After last night, I was going to give you yet another lecture on safe and legal quirk usage. But I'm way too tired to do so. You have your provisional licenses, so the legal part is basically shot. And I know you're not going to listen to me anyway. So, free study period. And with that, Shota buried in his sleeping bag and tried to get a few minutes of sleep before his peace was inevitably ruined. He had gotten almost none after the debacle that was last night. Bakugo and Kaminari had been arguing because Bakugo was always trying to pick a fight with someone. Usually it's the green hair problem child 9 times out of 10, but this time was different. At one point, Bakugo had dared Kaminari to stick his finger in an outlet and activate his quirk. Kaminari took the dare, effectively frying his brain, all of Heights Alliance's electrical system, and any unfortunate phones that were plugged in at the time. Kaminari came back to himself about an hour later. And then, "You absolute idiot! You fried my phone!" Bakugo had screamed. "You told me to do it, man," Kaminari yelled back. "I didn't think you'd actually be dumb enough to do it!" Bakugo activated his quirk then, explosions popping from his hands as he lunged at Kaminari. "Enough," Shota said, activating his quirk. "Both of you have detention tomorrow after school for using your quirks outside of class. Now the rest of you, off to your rooms. I don't care if you go to bed or not, but you need to be in your rooms. It's past curfew anyway." With that, Shota left the common area. Shota rolls over in his sleeping bag so that he's staring at the ceiling. He can't sleep for whatever reason, and he doesn't know why. He does know, however, that this is yet another sign from the universe, a sign that today is going to be long and painful, and a sign that today is going to test his patience. Mr. Aizawa," Jiro says hesitantly, which is unlike her. He sits up at that. "What is it?" "Do you hear that?" she asks. At first, he doesn't, and he's going to tell Jiro as such, but then he does hear it. It's faint. So faint that if Jiro hadn't pointed it out herself, he would have thought it was just his imagination. The noise grows louder as Shota stands, getting out of his sleeping bag. The class is quiet now, either hearing the noise for themselves or just picking up on the sudden tension, which is honestly kind of perfect because now Shota can hear the noise more clearly. And then he realizes what the noise really is. "I think it's screaming," Midoriya says. "It's people screaming, but not like battle cry screaming or I'm in pain screaming. It sounds like screams of fear," Shota finishes for Midoriya. And then Shota's eyes widen as he realizes that the screams aren't getting louder. They're getting closer. Everyone against the back wall now. We don't know who these people are. They could be villains. The students obey almost immediately, which is good because Shota has just realized that the screams are coming from above, and they're getting closer, which means... Are they going to land here? Todoroki asks. Of course not, Icy Heart. The UA roofs are way too strong for Screen A and Screen B to penetrate through just by falling. Unless they have some real good support items there. Oh my god! Bakugo is abruptly cut off, and sharp cries and screams of alarm are all Shota hears as the roof caves in. Shota jumps back, narrowly avoiding a few pieces of falling debris. He looks up, staring at the large hole in the ceiling. Then he slowly looks down to see what on earth had fallen through the ceiling. There, laying amongst debris and drywall, are two people in very interesting costumes. There was a girl wearing a mask that was red with black spots and a suit that was red with black spots. There was a section near her torso where the colors were inverted. It was black with red spots. There was a yo-yo on her hip that was red with black spots. Shota realizes that her entire costume resembled a ladybug. Huh, interesting, he thinks. The girl's hair was a bluish-black color. She had bangs and was wearing two longish pigtails. Next to her, there was a boy, who was very obviously dressed like a black cat. His suit was leather, it was black. He wore a bell on his neck for some reason, and there were two very distinct cat ears nestled in his blonde hair. A few feet away from him lay a black staff. It had a bright green paw print on it, and it seemed to be retractable. Shota gets the feeling that these two people are no older than his students, possibly younger, and Shota's instincts are never wrong. Are they okay? Midoriya asks. I don't know, Jiro says. They haven't moved since they landed, Kirishima points out. Oh my god, are they dead? Kaminari yells. Don't say that! Ashido screams. Just as Shota is about to kneel down and shake them both awake, or call Recovery Girl to make sure they're not dead, the girl's eyes flutter open and she sits up. She turns to the boy and says something that Shota doesn't hear. Then she begins to shake him. The boy's eyes flutter open and he sits up. The girl says something to him and he nods before saying something to her. They begin talking and Shota tries to make out what they're saying, but they're speaking too quietly for him to hear. Are you two alright? Shota says after a moment. Their heads whip towards him, so fast that he's surprised they didn't get whiplash. They stare at him, shock, alarm, and suspicion evident on their faces. After a long moment of no one saying anything, Shota continues. You fell through the roof. Are you two hurt? Silence. Very uncomfortable silence. I can't help you if you don't answer, Shota says. The girl tilts her head in confusion and then looks at the boy in utter confusion. What is so hard to understand about are you okay, Shota thinks. The boy's eyes widen as a look of realization crosses his face. He whispers something to the girl and then they look back at Shota. Shota is about to try one more time to ask them if they are okay when the girl finally speaks up. And oh, you've got to be kidding me. Because the girl is speaking French. Shota sighs as he thinks back to 10 minutes ago. Thinks back to walking into his classroom just knowing that today was going to be a long day. Knowing that today was going to test his patience in a way it had never been tested before. And knowing that he wouldn't get any peace for a long while. Shota's instincts are never wrong. Kanwa opens his eyes to Ladybug shaking him. He sits up slowly. His head is killing him. Cat, are you alright? Ladybug asks. He nods. Do you know where we are? He says. No, I don't. I just remember getting hit by Time Warp's power, and then I was falling, and then now I'm here. She finishes lamely. Well, we need to get out of here somehow. Cat and Kanawar cuts himself off when he hears someone speaking. He turns his head toward the noise, and there stood a man with long black hair and dark eyes. He notices the eye bags under his eyes and thinks mood, even though he really didn't have a lot of trouble sleeping most nights. The man is wearing all black except for a long gray scarf around his neck. At least Kanawar thinks it's long. It's very poofy, and if it's poofy, that means it's long. Is that logic probably flawed? Yes. Does he care? No. Because he knows he's right. The man continues speaking, but Kanawar can't understand a word of it. Did he hit his head or something? Does he have a concussion? No, even if he did hit his head, the miraculous suits make them nearly invulnerable. There's no way he had a concussion. Although the throbbing headache he has might just prove him otherwise. The man goes silent for a while. He's starting to look slightly annoyed. He feels a little bad for not answering, but can you honestly answer a question that you don't understand? Especially when you really don't understand the question. As in, the words coming out of this man's mouth are gibberish to him. Then he realizes the man's speaking Japanese. Ladybug seems to realize it too, so he leans over and whispers, "If we're in Japan, this is going to be bad." Ladybug nods in agreement. Finally, she says, We don't understand you." The man's eyes widened comically, and then he groans. He looks like he's thinking long and hard about his life choices. Then the man calls someone over. At least Kanawar thinks he calls someone over because a few moments later, a boy with blonde hair, much like his own, walks over to the man. The man says something to the boy nods, and then he turns towards Ladybug and Kanawar. He sits down and begins speaking. "Hello, I'm Yuga Aoyama. I will be your translator since I'm the only one here who can speak French. Well, I'm pretty sure Nezu can speak French, but he isn't here at the moment. So, ask me anything and I'll answer, as long as I'm allowed. In exchange, you have to answer the questions Aizawa asks. I will translate them for you." "Aizawa?" Ladybug asks. "The man behind me. He's our homeroom teacher." "We're in a school?" Kanawar says. "Yes, you're in UA High." "UA High?" Kanawar squints. "I've never heard of it." "You've never heard of UA?" Aoyama yells. "No?" Ladybug says hesitantly as Kanawar shakes his head. "Well, it isn't completely out of the ordinary considering you're from a different country. But you have to have at least heard of UA due to the sports festival," Aoyama says. "I've never heard of UA, and neither has she," Kanawar says. "Or the sports festival for that matter. What is it? Is it like the Olympics? Something your school does?" Aoyama stares, dumbfounded. "Yes, it is like the Olympics, and yes, it is something our school does. Basically, it's a, Aoyama flounders to explain. Basically, all the students in UA compete in a series of games and tests until eventually only 8 contestants remain. Then those 8 contestants compete against each other in an arena where they battle it out until only 1 remains. Don't worry, it's only 2 at a time, so it isn't a bloodbath. And recovery girl is on standby to heal any injuries. Then, whoever wins gets to stand on a podium with the 2nd and 3rd place winners, and they're shown to the entire world. Competing in the sports festival is basically a great way to show off your skills to any heroes that might want to intern you. And sometimes general ed students get to move to hero course if they're good enough. That's what happened to Shinso. Kanawar was completely lost. "Wait, hero course?" he says. "Yeah, you know, to train, be heroes," Aoyama says dumbly. "Why, what?" Ladybug says. "UA High School is the best hero school in Japan. They train the next generation of heroes. There's also general ed, business, and support. Ladybug stares. Wait, so this school trains people to be heroes? Yes. You didn't know this? Aoyama says. Like we said, we've never... Kanagawa trails off. We've never heard of UA until today, Ladybug says. That's so weird. I've been wanting to go to UA since I was 5, and I lived in France until I was 7, Aoyama says. You guys must just be very sheltered. How old are you exactly? After a moment of contemplation, Ladybug says, We're 14. Kanagawa nods. And where exactly are you from? Paris, they say in unison. Okay, and what are your quirks? Huh? Both he and Ladybug say at once. What are your quirks? Your superpower. Some might call it your meta ability. What is it? What is a quirk? Ladybug says. It's barely above a whisper. Oh my god, Aoyama says, a look of horror on his face. You don't know what a quirk is? Kanagawa shakes his head. Then he realizes something. Wait, Aoyama, what year is it? Aoyama stares. It's 2271, he says. Kanagawa can feel the blood draining from his face as he turns towards Ladybug. She looks just as pale, and with a look of horror on her face, she says, Oh no, we are so screwed. What's wrong? Aoyama asks. What's wrong, Kanagawa starts, is that we're not from this time period. Where we're from, quirks don't exist, but superheroes do. They get their powers from magic jewelry. These magic jewels are called miraculous, and they're really dangerous when in the wrong hands. There's a man with a miraculous that has the power to create villains using magical butterflies called akumas. We've been fighting him for almost a year with no success. Today he created a villain with the power to send people and objects through time. We were hit by her power while trying to defeat her, and that's why we're here. The color drains from Aoyama's face as he processes the next sentence. We're not from 2271, Ladybug says. We're from 2016. Aoyama stands without a word. He walks over to Aizawa without a word. He turns to Ladybug and Kanagawa, and he says, I'm telling Aizawa everything you just told me. Because what the actual heck? And he does. Aoyama tells Aizawa everything. And Kanagawa knows this because with every word Aoyama speaks, Aizawa grows increasingly paler. And by the end, Aizawa is white as a ghost. Aizawa simply looks at the two superheroes, looks at Aoyama, and leaves the room. Shota slams open Nezu's door and yells, We need someone with a translating quirk, and we need them now. Nezu looks up. I assume it's due to the 2 French kids that just fell through your ceiling? Shota doesn't question how Nezu knows this. All he does is nod and say, yes. Nezu grins and simply says, Tell me everything. So he does. This concludes Chapter 2 of When Powers Collide. I really hope you enjoyed this chapter. Yes, Shinzo is going to be replacing Mineta because we all hate Mineta, including me. Mineta sucks. Mineta, no. Although he does have some funny moments, I just can't get past how he treats the girls, and yeah, no, ew, disgusting. Anyways, the next chapter should be up soon, and thank you so much for listening.